A very good evening wherever you're tuning in live on Rugby.com.au for this clash against New Zealand schools and Australian schools live at Ballymore Stadium in Brisbane. I'm Patrick Folkeson to go through this final Tri-Nations clash. I'm joined by the General Manager, High Performance of Rugby Australia, Ben Whittaker. Wits, it's a tale as old as time, Australia against New Zealand. And for these young men today, what an opportunity to represent their country.
Thanks, Patrick, and always good to be here. And it's a true test match, you know, and these boys look forward to this every year, and it's the final game pretty much of the season. And this will certainly be a test match to remember, and I know the Australian team's prepared extremely well for this. New Zealand always prepare well, so it'll be a great clash.
Big crowd here at Ballymore as we get ready for the national anthems of Australia and New Zealand. Just fantastic to see those young men singing their anthems. You can see their Australian school side peering on your screen, and been a lot of talented young players in this team, particularly looking forward to seeing the halves combination of Spencer Jeans and Carter Gordon.
I agree, Patrick, and they've played together before, so the combinations there, they've played through some age grade stuff with Queensland, so they've got a bit of a partnership going, and
it's fantastic as New Zealand schools, their players on the screen, and I'm particularly looking forward to seeing Blair Murray. We saw him absolutely carve up in that match against Australian Barbarians the other day as we get ready for the haka. So both teams ready for this clash, the final of the Tri-Nations, and there's plenty of talented young players across the two squads, as we were just mentioning. The rain is pelting down here in Brisbane. If you're tuning in from across Australia and New Zealand as well, and we welcome our New Zealand viewers to this Rugby.com.au broadcast. We trust you enjoy the next action-packed game we have here for you. It's been a big day for the Rugby.com team, with Aon University Sevens on the Gold Coast as well. And as we're getting ready,
You got me?
Carter Gordon from Brisbane Boys College to get us underway.
We look at this Australian team, Patrick. We go back to the Australian Championships held in July, and these players were in red-hot form. Back at Riverview College, they now come together in the national team, probably the biggest test these guys would have ever faced, and that's the way we want it. We want a benchmark performance, you know, against the best opposition available, and this is truly it.
A good crowd has rolled in despite the weather on the close side of the field when they're sheltering underneath the covers. As Carter Gordon kicks long, and we're underway in this match between Australia and New Zealand schools. Just returning the favour. And Connolly goes to salvage the situation and does so. Referee says no. So come back for the line out.
Half a metre, please. Walk to me.
Australian schools to have the feed. Billy Pollard for Australia throws the ball in. It's high, it's taken, falls for the men in goal, but it'll be a knock on.
The line-out's an area of the game, Patrick. Over the last couple of years, New Zealand's really exerted pressure. We're going to have to be really solid in both set piece here, scrum and line-out. We've got a very mobile pack, our two locks in Will Harris and Tom Vanderscaife. Both played back row at the National Championship, so definitely mobile. We really have to make sure this line-out works.
First scrum of the day. Referee not happy. And Australia's captain Angus Bell on that far side of the scrum from Newington College in Sydney. And for those playing at home, there are two Angus Bells in this side. One's a prop, the other one a utility back. So you couldn't get more different players.
The great thing is they're good mates. They've grown up playing with each other, particularly through junior teams over a long, long time. And in fact, they're both fathers are sitting next to each other in the grandstand as we speak.
Ball fed in for Nukai. He sends it into Fahaki. Gets the offload away. Well tackled by the Australian defence. New Zealand recycle well. They move it out on the short tight to Neatkins. But a forward pass halting the New Zealand attack.
You always like that first sort of scrum, that set piece there, and then they throw sort of nice direct runners there, the New Zealand team, and Australia defended well there.
The referee today, Damon Murphy, is a local Brisbane lad, I believe.
He is. He obviously had a decorated playing career himself, playing for Brothers here in Queensland, played for the Reds and also Australian Sevens. And, you know, it's great to see a referee of Damon's standing come in for this match. Really important game for the players, but also an important game for Damon and his team of match officials.
So we're going to have the second scrum, an important battle here today between the two packs in the wet conditions to get dominance early. The ball is fed by Australia. That has come apart, and it's a penalty to New Zealand. So they claim the first advantage in the scrum battle. You can see New Zealand forwards ecstatic with that result. I'm going to take the points or opt for kick for the corner. Going to go for the points.
Well, one for the traditionalists here, Patrick. You can see in line-out and scrum, set-piece dominance is what they're after early, and it really sets a platform, as we talk about a lot, in all levels of the game. And, you know, the first scrum, they won their ball quite comfortably, and then they put immense pressure on the Australian team just there. Now, it's not uncommon in the first couple of scrums, just to be finding out, how you need to pack, etc., having not played against this opposition before. Slight nuances in how, we set, etc. So I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of small adjustments by the Australian team can get them back to compete strongly in the set piece.
So Rivers Rayhana from St. Kentigern College looks towards the post to give New Zealand the early lead. Kick is high, it's looking good, just short of the posts. And Australia clear their lines through John Connolly. So a lucky escape there for the Australian schools side. The ball just not having the legs. A good accuracy though, and there's the crowd, I promise, that was sheltering underneath. Great grandstand here at Ballymore.
Let's go, set the line.
Fantastic crowd. Obviously, a lot of people have stayed around after some excellent matches played earlier, but they're all here to see this big one.
Oh, well taken in the air by Sam Darry. New Zealand starts them all, and they apply the pressure on the Australian forwards, making meters now. Just holding it up the back, and this is a fantastic effort. They've gone 10 meters. And you can hear the chanting from the New Zealand team. Eventually gets to ground. Funakai, he moves it on. New Zealand, Australia rushing up quickly in defence. The tackle of Punavai eventually brought to ground. They're moving the ball in the forwards to Martin. Gets a couple of good meters. Well tackled by Gordon. Slow ball for New Zealand and a big barnstorming run. It was Vaikena. Australia creeping offside. And just almost a little knock on and dancing and weaving. Raihana looking to make some meters. They go to the left, New Zealand through Williams. Williams cut down. 5 meters from the line now. New Zealand back to the right. Here comes Darry. Was wrestled to the ground by the Australian captain. New Zealand moved to the right. They've got numbers opening up. If they can see the space, Australia shut it down quickly. Will come back for the penalty.
One goal. Got it now, right there. Offside.
Angus Bell, the Australian captain, just not getting his line right in defence, and now has gifted New Zealand a 3-pointer, you'd think.
The pressure exerted there by New Zealand, just really challenging the gain line, looking to get some front foot ball. That's part of the game they do so well. They're patient and they set up options either side of the breakdown wherever the Australian team will be short.
So they opt to go for the try.
Marks on me, half a metre.
So defence now key for this Australian school side. New Zealand with the opportunity to attack. They break on the short side, going for the corner, and desperate defence from the Australians. Sulamoa, I thought he was over, but Australian schools just managed to bundle the big New Zealand front rower into touch. And look here, the desperate effort. It was a good attempt. So not straight. Off the line out, and that's a coach killer for the Australian coach, Andrew Maloney. Australia just not able, through Billy Pollard, to nail that line out.
And we all know Australia here just have to absorb this pressure, make sure they get their systems in defence right, make their tackles. Bit of a blow there with a missed opportunity to clear out of the 22 from the line out, but now Australia will come under pressure here in the scrum.
So 5 metres out from the line. I think this is, I've already lost count of the scrums, the 3rd or 4th scrum. And if you've just joined us live on Rugby.com.au, welcome. It's wet conditions here in Brisbane. As Funakai feeds the ball in, just holding it up the back as New Zealand is grabbed it. The ball is out. No, says referee Murphy. Australia offside.
9 goals. You can't come that much.
So New Zealand just really bashing away at the Australian defence at the moment. We're giving away a couple of penalties.
9 offside. No, it wasn't out. Stay past that gap. You can't come around to 8 feet. Can I stay behind the ball? Yes.
Good communication there from referee Murphy.
Well, he was an outstanding communicator to the refs as a player, so it's not surprising that Damon Murphy is very good on the comms as a referee.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Funakai feeds the ball in for New Zealand Schools. They go out to the right. They've got numbers. They're waiting, and a good inside line from New Zealand. They are so close to the line now. Australia folds around on that right-hand side, and going short is New Zealand for the try. An excellent opener. That was Sola Moua. I think he jotted the ball down, and just that consistent pressure from New Zealand Schools, and they have opened the try. You can see the flick pass on the inside to Moua from Auckland Grammar School, and good patience and just reward there for New Zealand Schools.
It is, Patrick. I think Australia have been under pressure pretty much since the kick-off. A couple of misses in the line-out, scrum under pressure, and now they find themselves 5 points down, soon to be 7. New Zealand again, simple play, really trying to own that gain line, get over the gain line. Options either side of the breakdown, defence under pressure. And a nice opener, as you said, for the New Zealand team.
So this kick from Rivers Reihana goes straight over the red dot, in this case, the Queensland Rugby.
The beautiful gum trees in the background, the iconic Ballymore.
It's my favourite ground in Australia to watch rugby.
He's got to stay behind the ball. He can't go around.
And the Queensland rugby community always gets behind their team. As Carter Gordon looks to restart this for Australia and see if they can get some valuable territory for the young men in gold. Kick goes long, and that's taken by Rampling. Gets away from one tackle. Eventually brought to ground. Manages to get a few extra metres. Funakai kicks over the top. It's not his best kick. Looks like Ravel Blair may have been offside. He's allowed to bounce for the knock on.
Knock on my black. Easy, easy.
I thought Blair Murray may have been in front of the kicker there, but a little argy-bargy between these two sides already. No love lost out on the field.
The young fullback from New Zealand, Blair Murray. A lot of people sort of liken him to Damien McKenzie.
He's almost a Control-C, Control-V, isn't he? He's got the look, the dart, the weave.
Very talented player, and we want to make sure that when Australia sort of kick, they kick either contestable or down for territory to avoid Blair Murray have any room to move.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
So Jeans feeds the ball in. Australian scrum under pressure, but manages to get the ball out. Carter Gordon, and then the flick pass on. Jimenez has to go back and scramble and runs into a solid wall of black jerseys. Gets his knees to the ground. Prevents them all. Jeans, he gives it to Bell. Gets through one tackle, the big man. Takes a couple to bring him down. They go to the left, Australia, and good chop tackle from Punavai, halting the Australian advance. To the right, back to the captain, Bell. New Zealand attempting to slow down the ball at the breakdown. They go to the left-hand side and building off it. It was a good run by Tau Tau.
Backwards.
Ball's gone backwards to Gordon. Flick it on. Here's Walton. Walton looking to get through the line. Throws a long looping pass, trying to make something out of nothing. And the Australian centre sends that ball over the sideline.
A nervous first start for Australia, really, in attack. But you can see there, with the forward runners from Australia getting in behind New Zealand, we can set that sort of platform. Then Australia can get a bit of front foot ball and get back into this game.
Suwana Vaikena throws the ball in from New Zealand. Excellent line out there, and they move the ball into Fahakai. New Zealand Schools looking the goods at the moment. Kicked over the top by Reihana. Right down the throat of the Australian fullback, John Connolly.
Happy, Shane?
Oh,
Yep,
well
all good, mate.
taken there by Murray. Can see him shape up and look at the Australian attack. And it's fullback on fullback. Gets the offload away. Back to Vaikena. And a little knock on there from New Zealand. Comes good for Australia. They go quickly to that right-hand side. Here's Moretti. Throws a long ball again with a cutout over the top. Here's Lachlan Elias, who gets to ground from Trinity Grammar School. Pollard takes it well. Jeans to Gordon. Long looping pass and well taken in the end by Van der Scaife. New Zealand claim the ball's out and eventually comes good for Australia. Slow ball from the men in gold at the moment, but they're maintaining possession. Moving it on to that far side of the field from our broadcast position.
Backwards off the foot.
Backwards, Jimenez from the ACT goes in to rescue it and smashed into touch from Gideon Rampling. He needed support there, the young Canberran.
Australia need to settle in attack. Patrick and I'd be looking at plays other than long cutout balls for the Australian team. Need to commit defenders. Running nice and direct.
So New Zealand get the ball uncontested at the line out, and that, I fear, may be a bit of a theme today. It has bucketed down in Brisbane.
Knock on, scrum. Goal
Just see here the line out. Tufua Funakai just couldn't hold on the ball from a rugby nursery, Sacred Heart College in Auckland. Beautiful part of the world.
Bring it up closer for me, please. That's it. Yeah, you do.
So an important scrum here for the Australians to attempt to build some solid attack.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
That scrum's gone to ground on the far side.
Both of them have short binds and head and shoulders.
So 16 minutes gone in this international between Australian schools
Height.
and New
So
Zealand
shoulders above
schools.
hips. Let's get longer binds, please. Thank you.
Please watch him coming around.
Boys, let's get that call going. Let's go.
Clear communication from referee Murphy to the front rowers. Always appreciated from a man who's probably about 80 kilos. Dripping wet.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Jeans feeds the ball in for Australia. Good pressure from New Zealand schools. It comes back for Jeans. 7 comes off and hits him as he grabbed the ball. Was still bound, says referee Murphy. Australia have to scramble back, and this may come on the side of New Zealand.
7 must roll away, please.
Not rolling away. A little bit of fire in the belly there from young Spencer Jeans. His side was in the GPS final from TSS here in Brisbane against Nudgee a couple of weeks ago, which was one of the great GPS finals, I believe, in recent memory. As Australia gets some territory inside New Zealand's half. Pollard, can he fix the line out? And he does. Gets it to Moretti. Gordon with the ball. Long looping pass. Walton almost got away from the tackle. Jeans to Gordon. Gives a short ball.
Knock on.
Knock on. And again, just a little error. Holding back the Australians when they start to ask questions against New Zealand schools. Just have a look here at the replay. Gordon sees a bit of space, but the pass just didn't sit up for John Connolly. So now New Zealand with another opportunity in possession off their scrum. Seeing it to Marty Williams on your screen.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Better scrum there from the Aussies. It's come to ground.
So we've had a couple of scrums now. You can see them just really sorting out the heights of the scrums now. You can see the New Zealand
And captain.
front row in particular, you know, really tall. So that height adjustment from both sides will start to even out
Listen to me.
scrummaging
Six of you.
contest.
I spoke just pre-game about stability, right? We need to be stable and then bind, clear gap. We're not seeing it at the moment, okay? It's responsibility of both of you to keep that and maintain those standards. 1 second, I haven't finished. Captains, no more refereeing every scrum. I've got one of these guys chipping in about something. All of them shut their mouths, otherwise I'll move to free kicks. Understand? Let's go, please. Move on. I don't want to hear any more.
So referee Murphy laying down the law between the two front rows.
I can't open the gap there. I can't open the mark.
Such an important battle as the rain again starts to roll over here in Brisbane. We're underneath a pretty rough storm cell here on the east coast of Australia at the moment, but for our international viewers tuning in, great, because we have had a few rain issues here lately. As we cross over into the 20-minute mark, it's New Zealand Schools 7. They lead Australia Schools 0. Funakai with that. Feeds the ball in. Murray, he moves it on to Rampling. Big white headgear. Eventually gets to ground. It gets up and goes again. Murphy, referee Murphy just penalising Australia for coming in through the side. So New Zealand now with another opportunity to enter Australia's half.
You'd love to see that sort of attacking intent, you know, from deep in their half. They found a good 30-40 metres on the Australians. There are a couple of missed tackles. Brings them right into Australian territory off the back of that penalty.
So New Zealand with the attacking opportunity well inside Australia's red zone. The men in gold will have to work hard here if they are to repel New Zealand Schools. A good throw, well taken by Martin. They flick the ball off quickly. New Zealand Schools back on the inside to the try scorer up Maua. Slow ball coming for Funakai. He finds a runner in Williams. Williams gets away from one. He's still going Williams. He's taken down by Bell. Ball comes for Funakai. Gives it off to Surgener. New Zealand still going. This may have been stolen by Australia. I believe it has. It's an absolute bloodbath of bodies down there, but Australia come away with the advantage.
No, it was in the tackle.
So a lucky break there for the men in gold, wrestling back possession. Just have a look here at the replay. I think that was Walton who effected the tackle first up, and then the sea of bodies, Funakai went in there to rescue it.
You see Moretti there, the blindside flanker for the Australians, go straight for the ball as soon as Walton hit the legs of the New Zealand attacker. Allowed him to strip the ball. Fortunate for Australia, they now have a scrum 5 metres out from New Zealand's try line.
Bind! Pre-engage, far side, black.
Pre-engage from New Zealand. So Australia can breathe a sigh of relief. Carter Gordon will look to get as much metres as he can. We know what an amazing boot he's got. Gets Australia well outside the 22. New Zealand will have the feed, and they have been dominant at the line out. Australia yet to really challenge New Zealand's aerial dominance at the moment.
Let's go, please, Black.
McKenna. And that's a good contest, but it comes down for New Zealand, who start the rolling maul. A good grab there by Van der Scaife, looking to try and pull it apart from the middle. But this is good from New Zealand. Their forwards start to rumble. Closer to the 22 now. I thought there may have been a ball that came out there from to forward, but eventually gets it back. Funakai looking for it. Throws it out to the right. Neepkins calling for it.
Counter-ruck's fine.
Counter-ruck good from Australia. They may have got it out, and they do so. Flick it on. They need better ball than that for Elias, who gets his way out of one tackle, and there's about 6 black jerseys that swarm upon him. Australia look to clear their lines, and Gordon hoofs it long. It sits for Murray, who takes it comfortably in the Brisbane rain and now looks to kick cross fields and find space, and he does so. That's one way to move the ball from one side to the other, and Blair Murray, he is a talent, Ben Whittaker.
He sure is. I think for a little while there, his trusty left foot, he might have been a little bit nervous. It didn't land straight in the arms of the open side winger there for Australia, young Daniel Alla. Bit of reasonable result for New Zealand. Australia now in the line-out, under pressure to start this game. Some quality ball for them will start to get them back in.
All good.
See the rain tumbling down as Pollard drives the ball as he prepares to throw.
Time on.
Tap back, but not straight. Pollard just not with the laser accuracy.
Option. Scrum. Scrum.
So a scrum for New Zealand schools. Just on the 40-metre line.
Clear gap for me. Can't pre-engage.
We all know in these big games, pressure tells. And so there we go with good pressure from New Zealand early in most of the lineouts to date. As Australia a little bit off in their throw. A strong position again for New Zealand.
You just feel, though, if Australia can hold on to the ball, just shake off some of the everyone trying to throw the amazing pass, they can actually build some pressure. This New Zealand side is looking the goods at the moment as they get it to Raihano, flicks it on, and there's Punavai, got it off to Murray. They go to the right. Raihana again to Rampling. Outside the 22 now. Ball comes for New Zealand. That was a knock on by Connolly. I think referees thought he had it. He's knocked it on.
Knock on.
So a knock on by John Connolly in the attempted steal. Unlucky there not to get a penalty, you'd think. But it's advantage New Zealand at the scrum. 25 minutes
Here's your mark.
gone in this game. About 10 minutes left to go in this first half, and it's 7 points to 0. Australia probably a bit lucky not to be down by more, but a good opportunity for the men in gold.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Funukai gets the ball at the back of the scrum. Short ball to Rampling. Brushes away Gordon. It's good for New Zealand. They give it to Jones. Getting over the 22. No, he's pushed back from the Australian defence. Vaikena shapes to throw it on the inside. Takes the line on. Now on the 22, New Zealand. Here comes Darry, the towering lock. Just asking questions of this defence, and a great penalty from Australia. Reimer affecting the steal.
Well, we know Luke Reimer from the National Championships this year. That's his game. He is all over the football, and if you give him half a chance there, where support play from New Zealand just slightly off, then Reimer's all over the ball. The turnover, real precious turnover there for Australia.
So less than 10 minutes to go in the first half. Can we see Australian schools start to build some pressure against the visitors? And that's better from Pollard, who plays advantage. Here's Jeans, who japes to throw the ball back on the inside, and Australia get the penalty. Might be a little argy-bargy. Funukai has not been afraid to have some words with his Australian counterparts today.
Step back.
So Australia now with an opportunity, 27 minutes gone. What can they do? Gordon kicks long. Excellent kick from the Australian fly half.
really what you love to see from young players taking kicks for touch and, you know, making sure of it, kicking 10 metres down. It's a good 25, 30 metre gain.
Pollard. As the rain rolls down here at Ballymore, he doesn't know where to go. Throws it in. A knock on for New Zealand.
Knock on, scrum. Time off. Captain, come in. Australian captain, come in. Listen to me very clearly, the both of you.
Yep.
If they can continue to carry on like pork chops, I'll treat them like pork chops. Any more back chat now is a full arm. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Wait. I do not need to be told how to referee the game.
Yeah, that's good.
I can do that. I'm not telling you guys how to play the game, so stay out of it. This is your final warning. Next one opens their mouth is a full arm penalty.
Could I have a word?
Yes, you may have a word. Have a word.
If you open the textbook to referee communication, that is it. Pork chops.
Well, communication extremely clear. I don't know if you had to then define the colloquial term pork chop for some of our international listeners and viewers.
Channeling his nana, perhaps.
And your version of a pork chop, Patrick, your definition is what?
Oh, look, I don't know. I'm awash with confusion.
Well, they're carrying on.
But the message is clear.
Very clear. You need to stay quiet, play the game, let Damon officiate.
Just shows the passion between these two teams, what they want to do for their side, which you have to admire. Fantastic part of the rugby rivalry between Australia and New Zealand. The schools battle as Gordon throws the dummy and almost gets through.
Advantage, Black not rolling away.
Black not rolling away, so Australia have the impetus at the moment. The men in gold. 7 metres out from New Zealand's line. They get to ground. Walton places it back slowly. They're rushing up quickly. New Zealand schools. That's good defence from the men in black. They know how to swarm in defence. Here comes Moretti with the run. Will come back for the penalty. No advantage for Australia schools. Do you take the points? No, they take it quickly. They've ignored me. Gordon needs to go himself. Gordon just short of the line. A metre out now. Australia go back to the left. Short ball. I think that's been lost on. It has. So New Zealand's defence holds. Spencer Jeans just throwing it to Reimer. Couldn't quite get his hands around it in time. You can look here at Gordon. Had options, didn't know what to do, and just took on the line. The correct decision in the end. And then the little knock in contact coming there. And good tackle there from Vaikena, affecting the mistake. And that's what you want with a tackle on the line.
Fantastic last-ditch defence by the New Zealanders. Australia will get a little bit of confidence out this last 5 minutes of play.
Bind! Set!
New Zealand on their line. Vaikena coming across field and good running into contact. Gordon makes the tackle. It was an excellent run there by Haki. Kicked over the top, clearing their lines. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic kick. Australia looked to take it quickly, and in the quick conditions, Daniel Alice slips over. So, a line out. Well away from New Zealand's defensive zone. And that is excellent work there from the New Zealanders to keep their cool under pressure. Here's Gordon, who makes sure he gets it in the breadbasket. Walton ducked his way under the tackle of Haki. Gordon again kicks over the top, looking to catch Murray out of position, and he has to motor back to get it. A good chase there from Walton. So probably a good result there for Australia schools. Nice little bit of territory.
Good territorial gain. I really like the look of young Spencer Jeans, the halfback for Australia at the moment. He's cleaning up a lot of ball at the back of the breakdown or scrum, turning it into a nice possession for his back line.
Pollard waits for the call. They go long. Moretti on a dart and weave from Jeans. That was the opposite of a commentator's curse there from you, Wits. Reimer has to go in a scrum half. He gets it to Gordon. Short ball to Walton. Walton wrestled to the ground. Outside the 22. Here comes Bell. Shapes the pass and a good hit from Apanuru. He had nothing but strength on the Australian captain. Quick call, Gordon. Sees a little space up the back and kicks through. It's a foot race. Jimenez, and the ball is kicked out. It's still there for Reimer, but he's bundled over that far sideline.
Knock on first. Knock on first by Gold. Knock on first by Gold in the tackle.
It's a knock on by Australia Schools. So it'll be a New Zealand scrum.
Time off. Just give me a countdown.
Some players just receiving some treatment. Reimer is back on his feet. Just look at this replay. Gordon, the vision, sees a little space, kicks through, and the excellent vision from Jimenez to follow it through.
Black ball.
Just a little knock on in the tackle, but a good attacking play, I would suggest there, Wits, from Australia.
It is, Patrick, and tremendous vision there from Carter Gordon to pop that ball in behind the fast defensive line of New Zealand. Young Blair Murray again managed to get right on the spot there to stop what could have been Australia's first try.
Just joined us live on Rugby.com.au. Welcome to this clash between New Zealand schools and Australia schools. Special welcome to our visitors in New Zealand for this game at Ballymore in Brisbane. And the collapsed scrum earns New Zealand schools the penalty just on the cusp of half time. Rugby.com.au is bringing you this match live, as we have of every Australian match of this Tri-Nation series.
Mate, we've got time under control. You concentrate on the water. Let's go, please.
Everyone seems to want to offer referee Murphy feedback today. New Zealand water runner is included.
Gold, marks on me, across.
There are a lot of former players around Brisbane having a chuckle to themselves based on Damon's verbal and behaviour when he was a player.
Vaikena. He's been very solid for New Zealand schools, and an excellent line-out throw to Sam Darry. Takes it comfortably.
Out, Black.
Box kicked over the top. And offside.
Inside the 10, 6.
Last play, Murph.
So the referees heard the call for last play. Carter Gordon just waiting for a ball. Spencer Jeans gets it to him. Australia, can they have the last say in this first half and get some points? They've certainly built their way into this match after a slow start. New Zealand having all the momentum, and deservedly so. In the first 15-20 minutes of this match, Pollard, an important throw for the young man. Oh, well taken by Harris.
Disruption. Can't swim back. Penalty, back, I warned you. Back.
And he reverses the decision. New Zealand has been warned. So Australia now with the opportunity for points. Do they go the line out again? They opt for the try. Fortune favours the brave. Pollard to throw in. Can Australia dominate this line out? Taken in by Harris. They start to rumble. It gets up the back for Pollard.
Black out.
They give it to Jean. Shot ball to Walton, just short of the line. Australia look to go short again. Here comes Reimer. Throws it to no one. Who's going to get it? It sits up for New Zealand.
Gold, play on.
Thanks, mate.
Comes back for Connolly.
No advantage, knock on by Gold.
And Australia will be left to rue that opportunity as we go to half-time. New Zealand Schools 7, Australia 0. And Wits, that half was a tale of two halves almost in itself. What did you make of it?
Well, Patrick, New Zealand clearly started the stronger, really solid platform offset piece, both line out and scrum. Gain line advantage, with ball in hand, and deservedly so, went to 7-0 early in this game. But Australia have fought back well off some small mistakes from New Zealand, and they've shown that once they get some good ball, front football, and they can manage their set piece, then they're well and truly in this game. They will be ruining some of the opportunity at the back end of that half. But this is the game where you can't look back. You've got to look forward. And I'm sure they go into those sheds believing, just as New Zealand will, that they're in a good shot to win this game.
We're in a complete arm wrestle between Australia and New Zealand schools, live from Ballymore Stadium in Brisbane. Don't go away, because we will be back in just a moment, live on Rugby.com.au, to bring you all the action from the second half.
We all start somewhere. For me, it was right here. My first match, my first win, my first loss. Tackles, torn muscles, bloodied eyes. At the time, I thought it was just practice for the next match. Turns out, it was bigger than that.
Adam Fry here in Hunters Hill. Curtly Bill's going to pick us up now. Special surprise for him. Thinks we're just doing a school tour, but we're going to get him to touch base with a couple of people that mean a lot to him in his early part of his rugby career. This looks like the foyer at your house, doesn't it?
This used to be my house.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look out. Good to see it. Good. Really good, really good. Yeah.
The first time I saw him, actually, he was in the under-13s. I was quite amazed. He had extraordinary talent.
I'm just looking over here. I actually think I can see you holding a shield here, KB. I've got your jersey here. I think there's an opportunity to reenact it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, looking good, guys. Yeah. Cheers on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's 7-0. New Zealand schools leading Australia schools from Ballymore, the home of Queensland rugby in Brisbane. It was Saula Maua from Auckland Grammar School scoring the try for the visitors, converted by fly half Rihez Reihana. And New Zealand unlucky not to put more points on Australia. Ben Whittaker, interesting first half. It's going to be a real battle to see who can emerge on top, especially, I would suggest, in this first 10 to 15 minutes of the second half.
And we talk about that first 10, 15 minutes, or the 5 minutes before half-time, and then the next 10, 15 minutes directly after half-time, and that's where teams want to get straight back into their rhythm. You know, what New Zealand do so well is manage the tempo of the game. And you can see, particularly when they've got the ball in hand, you know, they're patient, they're direct, and they open up some really strong opportunities for themselves either side of breakdown or set piece. So, you know, this 10 minutes here for both teams, really important to set the platform early, stay patient, really execute strongly. And you can see there at the back end of that half, Australia came back into play, you know, off some set piece where they actually gained ball, got momentum, and they started to cause a little bit of trouble there with some footwork in close, particularly through Joey Walton and co. And that's probably going to be their go-to in this second half, as well as Carter Gordon looking in behind there with that rush defence of New Zealand to see if we can find some space there for our flying wingers to get through and put pressure.
In Australia, pretty strong bench, and one player I've never seen in the flesh in Brisbane. I've seen him play down at the Nationals in City. Rajan Pasatoa, great utility back, can play fly half, can play centre, has played outside Carter Gordon in the centres, and I wonder, do they bring him on straight 10, do they put him into the 12 and try and change up the line of Australian attack? So plenty of options. One thing just before the break, as the Australian side makes its way back on field, was the reverse penalty from referee Murphy. New Zealand had the penalty and he reversed it against him, and just toning down what has been a pretty tense affair between these two sides. Everyone's wanted to have a word or two.
It has, and I mean, these type of test matches bring a level of intensity, you know, different to what these guys have played before. And I think what Damon Murphy's doing here is setting the platform for these players to learn that it's not a game at this level or higher where you can really chip in and talk, tell the referee what you're seeing, etc., that doesn't get in the way of the game. And Damon's, you know, laid it down pretty clearly that enough of the talk, enough of the niggle, and let's get on and play rugby. And I think even that situation with the reverse penalty, you know, is one that the coaches wouldn't like to see. You know what I mean? Like the rubbing of their heads, you know, etc., that just almost brings people all in to a bit of a melee, etc. Yeah, it's just not required. It actually takes away from what these guys are trying to achieve. And again, this is about a test match where we're looking to win, but there's a learning here for all these players about playing at the highest level.
So we're underway in the second half. New Zealand kicking to Australia, taken by Reimer, Australian pilferer. Jeans, big ball runner. It's a change already for Australia. That's Kapoa, who's entered the field of play.
On now.
Well taken by Murray. Gets away from one tackle, and there's the Damien McKenzie-ness shining through in him. We've invented a word as New Zealand continue to march. Looking good with ball in hand. They get it to Williams. Williams with the big don't argue. So strong with the ball in hand. Gets to ground. Gordon, I think, may have copped some of his wrath as New Zealand kick through the line. An excellent kick. John Connolly just watches it into touch. Jimenez gets ready, but there's 4 black jerseys descending on him.
Marks on me.
So he throws it back to the Australian replacement, Tyrell Kapoa from TSS, the Southport school. Not too far away from where we are now, and Australia take it quickly and well met. Reimer managed to get the offload, despite it coming at a strange angle. Gordon back on his feet, kicks it high. Sends it down to Murray, and you don't want to be doing that too many times. They send it across to Rampling. We know how dangerous he is. Puts the big step on and gets over the halfway line. New Zealand schools pick and go again. No, the ball's still at the back. Kicked over the top by Funaki. That's taken by Jimenez, who calls mark. No, doesn't get the opportunity to. So Australia managed to hold on to it, and they keep it tight. And a good sit down there from Kapoor. Jeans goes hunting for it. Ball's there, gets it back, flicks it to Gordon, who's under pressure, sends it high. Doesn't make touch, it does. Rampling shapes the pass, but Jimenez was there quickly. So good effort there from Australian schools to get out of trouble, Ben Whittaker.
Well, solid start by both teams in this second half.
Stay there, Gold.
And I think territory's going to play a big part, Patrick, towards the end of this game. You can see New Zealand, they're happy to kick in behind and force a line out, which, again, they're pretty logical based on the fact that Australia struggled early with their line out in that first half. So you can see possession and territory going to be really important.
So over the top it goes. I'm not sure he's got it. It's come down for the young men in gold. Jeans has to move quickly, and he does so. Gets it to Kapoor. He's a big rumbling forward.
Leave it come now. Ball's there. No.
Jeans shapes it up the back. Gordon with the kick. It's charged down. Comes back for New Zealand. Danger for Australia. Dropped it cold.
Knock on by Black.
Was Che Fehaki from Sacred Heart College. So with the line in front of him, I think he was trying a little flick pass, and we've seen him use that to great effect in earlier matches against Australian Barbarians. Let's have a look at this replay. The charge down from Gordon. Australia wasn't able to scramble, and he's just lost it in the hands. So I won't give him the indignity of attempting the flick pass. He's lost that as he attempted to grab it.
Let's go, boys. Mark's there.
Might be a bit of a let-off there for Australia. Carter Gordon there be disappointed. That charge down set nice and deep there, looking for the kicks, almost gave away, what he was going to do.
So New Zealand and Australia. A scrum inside the Australian 22, 38 minutes gone. New Zealand 7. Australia yet to score. They're on 0.
Early push.
Early push again from New Zealand. That's the second time in the match they've done this. So Gordon from BBC.
Yeah.
Kicks high, and great to see the far grandstand. Plenty of people sheltering under there too. It's a good crowd here at Ballymore today, considering it has been torrential for most of the day here in Brisbane. It's a good, warm Queensland rain. It's not a cold Wellington windy rain for our listeners over the ditch. If you're watching your lads, the relative comfort of Brisbane humidity, keeping things nice and temperate here as the ball goes well taken off the line out, off the top there by Martin. Such a long reach. New Zealand thrown to the ground. And just a little hands, unable to control it. So Australia get an opportunity. They haven't scored any points in this match.
The pressure on set piece now is almost reversed. Both teams are really looking to exert pressure on the opposition throw or scrum. And you can see there some great pressure from the Australian line-out forced. A sloppy sort of play at the ball in the line-out, and Reimer was able to put some pressure on, forcing New Zealand back, front foot for the Australian defence, and they force a turnover through a knock-on.
And that was the try scorer, Saula. Oh, he's left the field of play.
Fine.
After a solid involvement.
Set.
So Jeans feeds the ball, comes out for Reimer, gets out to Gordon. He was under pressure to Walton. Walton well met in the tackle, places it long. Jeans gives it off to Harris.
Release.
He's on his knees, player eventually released. Short side, New Zealand rushing up quickly, pops up the back, still good for Australia. A good run from Moretti, Luca Moretti. Gordon. And a good run from Walton. Walton runs hard into contact. It's a wall of New Zealand jerseys, and they get the penalty. Walton just isolated himself, maybe with the line he ran. Needed support there. And New Zealand clinically grabbed that penalty.
You're spot on, Patrick. That support play there from Australia just needed to be closer, in behind the ball carrier. It was a nice line from Joey Walton.
He is an exciting young player. Joey Walton hasn't really shown today what he is truly capable of. The conditions maybe just slowing him down, but he is definitely a player to watch for the future as the rain, if that's possible, gets heavier. So New Zealand through Vaikena. Go to the front of the line and it's lost. Van der Skiff picks it up for Australia Schools. Jeans to Gordon, short ball. A strong run from Moretti. Gets the big fence. Jeans to Bell, the captain. Hailing from Sydney. Gordon, quick rush up from New Zealand Schools, but they get the ball. Advantage over, the ball's kicked through and it goes through a sea of legs. It's still there for New Zealand. They're going to run away and score. Raihana scores in the corner like a thief in the night. And New Zealand Schools make it 2 tries against Australia at Ballymore.
All about pressure, Patrick. You can see here they picked their mark early. Pressure with a spilled ball.
And New Zealand fly half, Revis Raihana.
It's a sea of legs that ball disappeared to, and great patience and vision and pressure from Raihana to make sure he was there to score the try. So New Zealand 12-0. Kick to come. And that shot really shows how the rain is tumbling down.
Where's your mark, mate?
So he's already been successful with 1 conversion, a difficult kick in this rain. You certainly feel that Australia just frustrated with their little errors preventing them from building more pressure. That momentum they had in the start of the half just starting to be wrestled away from them. Oh, and a fantastic kick. It's just going to go to the left. Good effort there.
Conversion was
From New
unsuccessful.
Zealand's young fly half.
Goals. Score remains New Zealand 12, Australia 0.
So 12 points to 0. How can Australia Schools respond here? Still plenty of time in this match. You don't want to be giving New Zealand too much of a lead. Gordon kicks long and high, while taken up the back by the replacement, Louis Chapman. He finds touch. Australia with the line out. Just outside New Zealand's 22. Tyrell Kapoa throws in quickly, tap back. They need to move quickly. Moretti gets it to Gordon. Now here's Jimenez from Canberra. Kicks it over the top. Where's it land? It bounces well. Murray just watches it over that far sideline. Didn't want to touch it in the wet conditions with the Australian defence rushing up.
The play there from him is a good one from Australia's point of view. Play territory, get back in this game, put the pressure on New Zealand to exit their 22. There's some space in behind there with them playing that left winger up.
So an important line out for New Zealand. Australia goes up, comes back for New Zealand Schools. They got the range on that correct. Jones trucks it up.
No.
I glanced at my notes for a second there. Missed that one.
Well, it was ill discipline there from Reimer, who got in the way of the halfback and took him out of play.
Yeah.
And referee Murphy has called an obstruction by the defending player.
Just mentioned Nico Jones before, and we worth mentioning he's Crusaders Academy player and son of legendary All Blacks 7 Michael Jones. Must make mention, been provided some fantastic schools notes by Nick Darvanitsa from Green and Gold Rugby, the doyen of schools rugby, I would suggest on both sides of the Tasman. If you Oz rugby historians at home, Max Howell level notes. I can give no higher compliment as the ball is thrown in for New Zealand Schools. And a good long looping pass over the top. New Zealand putting Australia under pressure. Here comes Rampling, who kicks. I think that's had an Australian hand touch it. It has. So it comes back for New Zealand Schools. Probably not a bad option though, because Australia were scrambling across field.
Mark's on me.
It's fantastic to see that attacking intent, irrespective of the conditions we're faced with here today.
Thank you.
You know, looking to shift that ball under pressure. They got out to the right wing nicely.
On a fantastic, successful lineup from New Zealand. Good pressure there from Australian Schools, and rushing up is Reimer. He makes the tackle on Fahaki. Ball slowly placed back and box kick over the top. Jeans. No, Jimenez takes it, comes back. Oh, a bit of a high shot. No, referee's happy with it. Ball still good for Australia. They give it to Kapoor. Goes right next to the previous breakdown. Gordon shapes to kick, again touched by New Zealand. Murray takes it on the fly, kicks a short kick. It sits up for him and he kicks again. Racing back is Connolly and he takes it over the line. And they take it quickly. Here comes New Zealand. No.
Line, so it was in front.
I thought Louis Chapman
Taken in front of the mark.
Was going to steal a great try, but the ball was taken in front of the mark.
Subs coming, Murph. Subs coming.
No, so black ball. Black ball, yeah.
It was great awareness in the end by young
subs.
Blair Murray.
You can see the replay here. He spotted the space with a short kick and then went through the line again. It was a foot race. And Connolly did well.
Come on.
To get there, just needed to grab it probably a bit better to take that firmly over the line as Carter Gordon leaves the field of play. That will bring on Pasatoa. And this is a maul for New Zealand. It's looking dangerous. Australia have to hold them out if they want to win this match. And New Zealand score. That's 3 tries now to the visitors. And they are really starting to build a strong lead against Australia Schools. Just look at this pressure off the line out. And a strong rolling maul. A replacement Australian forwards just not ready. It was Jeremy Williams amongst others in the fray.
See there, Patrick, they cleverly sort of shifted to the left early off that driving maul from line out and then went back to the right when Australia responded. Smart play by New Zealand and, you know, capitalising on some fantastic counter-attack by Blair Murray. Unfortunate not to be able to throw that quick line out for the try, but clearly took it in front of the 5-metre mark.
New Zealand score a try from that rolling maul from the line out. I think it was number 1, Tamaki Williams.
Raihana
Got the ball down.
looking to add the extras and take this to a 19-point ball game. $50 minutes gone. On a solid kick, straight through the posts. So his second conversion of 3 for the New Zealand fly half. Raihana.
Conversion by Rivers Raihana was successful. New Zealand 19,
what can they do?
Australia
They've made some changes. Can the Australian bench respond? And that's been touched by a New Zealand hand and gone over that far sideline. These wet conditions playing their part all across the paddocks. So an important line out for Australia. Can they get across the white line and build some points pressure on New Zealand Schools? Kapora throws it in, well taken, up the back. Australia starts to maul. New Zealand, they need to motor back. Here come Australia Schools, they're rumbling well. The young men in golden, that's just over the line for Australia Schools. They register their first points of the match with a fantastic rolling maul. And just maybe they've fired themselves a shot in this Trans-Tasman clash, Ben Whittaker.
Well, it's a great line out thrown to the back, which they haven't done all game, Patrick. Nice clean catch there by Will Harris. Then they start to move forward nicely. No rush. Nice and composed. In behind the New Zealand defence. And in the end,
halfway,
Reimer falls over the line for their first try of the match.
So Raychan Pasatoa from Nudgee College, looking to add the extras. Takes his moment towards the posts. And puts it over the red dot. So it's 19 points to 7. 53 minutes gone, and Australia Schools
New Zealand 19
have fired a shot on the scoreboard in this match and wrestled back some momentum from the visitors. And it has been a seesawing match of momentum here at Ballymore. Don't go away, live on Rugby.com.au. As Rehana kicks it long, Connolly sends it back with a little interest, not a lot.
Marks on me, goal, marks
Australia,
on me.
New Zealand feed.
Just hold there, good.
Been very impressed from the performance of Vaikena, New Zealand Schools hooker. And of course, Ben, Australian school side and under 18s going on a tour to Europe, which we'll talk about in a minute, as New Zealand Schools get the ball through to Jones. Gets into contact. Walton under a sea of bodies. Moving it on, and that ball's been lost. It comes back for Australia. Moretti was all over it. Moving across field. That was Seb Strang, Australian scrum half, sending it back. Murray, long looping pass. Didn't quite nail that one, but it's still good. New Zealand just happy to play a territory game and taken well in the wet by Connolly. Steps back inside and sat back down. Strang gives it to Moretti, goes into contact. Slow ball for Strang, New Zealand rushing up. Offside. Good hands here from the Aussie Schools. They moved on quickly. Jimenez met well in contact, places it back. Strang goes back to the right. He sees Walton out there with a bit of space. Walton kicks through, assuming they have penalty advantage. Still they do.
Black offside.
So Nico Jones rushing up in his enthusiasm.
8 black offside.
They've played a fast defensive line all game here, the New Zealanders, so they've probably played just on the edge in that case there. Just missed timing. Getting off the line. Australia here, if they can kick this towards the New Zealand 22-metre line, might set up another strong attacking raid.
Kapora to throw the ball in from TSS. Look at the rain just tumbling down here on this game. It is one for the history books between these two sides who have such a long history. In the tradition of New Zealand and Australian rugby, comes back for Strang. Gives the ball to Pasatoa, to Jimenez, who throws the shoulder off to attempt to evade the tackle. Strang, short ball to the captain Bell, who trucks it into contacts like a seasoned forward that he is. To the right they go. Pasatoa gets away from one tackle. Ball still good for Aussie Schools. The replacement for Australia, Williams. That is done well. Comes back from Walton. Strang has to motor. Gets it to Kapora with the big right arm popping out.
No,
good clean out. Ball still good for Australia Schools. 6th or 7th phase now, and Reimer goes into contact. Did well to avoid a good attempt at a strip. Strang throws it, short ball. Oh, he's going nowhere, is Moretti. Get back down, says the New Zealand defence. They move the ball out. Kicking over the top is Pasatoa, but he catches it off the rebound. He's going to need support there quickly as New Zealand swarm. But sealing off was New Zealand Schools at the breakdown. Number 12 for New Zealand, Fahaki from Sacred Heart College, one of the great rugby nurseries in the world, let alone in New Zealand. 19 points to 7. Around 13 minutes left to go in this second half.
And the pressure's relentless, isn't it, Patrick, from New Zealand? So Australia really have to stay, really patient, nice and composed, execute strongly. You can see with this wet weather, the catch pass has got to be held up a little bit. So it's halting momentum slightly.
19 points to 7. If Australia's the next to score, it will be a real ball game. Taking it off the line was Manu. It's a sea of bodies at Ballymore. And it'll come in favour of New Zealand schools.
New Zealand seized on the opportunity there when there was a breakaway from that maul that probably was unintended by the Australian team, which gave New Zealand an opportunity to hook onto that ball. Maul called, goes to ground, turnover.
Trying to think back to some of the torrential Ballymore battles over the years. The Australia-England game, that was the that's the original Battle of Ballymore, I think. I think that was played in the torrential rain back in yesteryear. That scrum's gone to ground on that far side.
Black tight head needs a longer bind.
Just here. The assistant referees.
So black tight head, longer bind for me, please. There's your mark.
The warning laid down. An opportunity for the Australian scrum.
Bind!
Give me some of you fucking fella.
Set!
Ball comes good for New Zealand schools. A great dart and weaving run from Fahaki. Kick over the top, and there's 3 Australian runners there, putting the pressure on the kick. So it's just outside the 22.
4 black sub.
So New Zealand schools now making their own changes. Coming on is Josh Lord from Hamilton Boys High School.
There's your mark, boys.
So a good change as the bench makes the difference. Oh, the old fakie from Strang gets it into the middle of the field. Pasatoa offloads it happily. Strang spots a little space, gets it to Kapoor. Needs support, and eventually comes Will Harris there securing the ball. Reimer. Sorry, that was Lambert. Strang. Slow ball coming, pick and go. From the Australian forwards, Reimer. He spots a little space and gets away from one tackle, gets the offload away to Kapoor. 2 metres out from the line, a good place, and excellent work from the Australians forwards. Connolly hit hard by Rambling, just on the line. He needs to get his knees to ground. The maul is called. So Australia now need to get the ball back, and they flood in the gold jerseys, and it comes to ground. This will go the way of New Zealand. An excellent hit there by Gideon Rambling.
Hasn't Kapoor added something to this Australian forward display since coming on? The line-out's found its groove for Australia, and he has carried the ball extremely strongly. Magnificent line break from Reimer as well to set up that attacking raid. The New Zealand defence on the line, holds strong, sets up the turnover. Big scrum here, both teams.
61 minutes gone. New Zealand schools 19, Australia 7. Around 8.5 minutes left to play. Chapman feeds the ball in, comes loose. Does it come for Australia? It's a sea of bodies on that far side of the scrum. It's good for the men in gold. An opportunity for Australia schools. Here comes Reimer. It's a sea of jerseys. New Zealand, did they retreat in time? The ball's still good for Australia Schools. The pick and go. Just short of the line, Australia. They go again to the right of the breakdown, and good defence there from New Zealand Schools. Tyrone Thompson affecting the tackle. And a try to Australia Schools, is it? Let's listen to the referees.
Time back on.
And Australia strike with their second try at Ballymore. Kick to come.
And that was Jeremy Williams.
Jeremy Williams,
That rolling ball that went down, he dived
the
over.
replacement, diving over in the corner. And we have a battle on our hands here on Rugby.com.au. 19 points to 12, kick to come.
You get a sense, Patrick, that the Australians have started to really understand the conditions. Their forwards have stepped up, their support plays strong. They've found a little bit of space in behind the New Zealanders, who have defended extremely well, mind you.
Pasatoa, important kick. It's high, it's just going to fade to the left. Good attempt though. An excellent rush up there from the New Zealand backs. Brian Murray leading the charge. So
great awareness. You see Williams look over the top there, and you can see the space in behind. And he exploited it. We saw some of the Tongans earlier in the game before
jump, yeah.
Look to jump defenders.
So we're underway with the restart. It's a 7-point ball game. Australia would have to score twice to win this match. 6.5 minutes left to go. Connolly kicks long. Goes to Murray. A little show and go. Gets through 1, 2. Oh, a high tackle. That's going to be a penalty. And rightly so. Moretti tempted to coat hanger Blair Murray.
It's 6, Murph.
He could be in trouble there. New Zealand just at 6s and 7s. So this could be dangerous territory. I mean, he's...
Is it penalty only? Oh, you can't hear.
David Murphy and the referee.
Yeah. Penalty only? Okay, sweet. What number?
Just losing comms in this wet. I'm not surprised. Yeah, their comms gear is probably saturated
Time
by
back
now.
on. 6 gold, high tackle. High
So
tackle.
just a penalty. He comes across. Oof. Goes high. I mean, there's arguments either way. Blair Murray, probably the shortest player on the field, I would hazard a guess. Maybe Louis Chapman might give him a run for his money, but gee whiz, he is a rapid player.
And, you know, Australia all week would know that they needed to have a defensive line off kick that really nullified the opportunity for a player like Blair Murray. On that occasion, a ragged defensive line gave him a great opportunity to get in behind.
Thompson does well, throws over the top, comes back for Thompson. Australian defence just sort of sat back. No urgency there at all. And then a little knock on.
Knock on here first by Gold.
Knock on by Gold, didn't see that.
Black ball. Gold.
So
10 black off, please.
5 minutes left to go. And Australia need to get the ball
Yeah, your ball. Knock on by
quickly.
Gold. Black
Okay, all good.
Interesting play that by the New Zealanders off the line. Almost a suspicion of a forward pass when the acting 9 to Jones wrapping around. You're right, Patrick. You called the Australian defensive line sitting back on their heels. Yeah, really dangerous, only 20 metres out. New Zealand still in a very strong attacking position.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Well fed in by Chapman. Flicks it out to the right. Australia needs a motor, and that's going to be a try to Murray. Goes over. Blair Murray held the ball well, had numbers on the outside and support runners on the inside. And he has secured victory for New Zealand, you'd think, with that try. 24 points to 12.
Really tough defensively for young Daniel Aller on that right wing position. You know, with a real solid scrum there by New Zealand. Clever there that they just shifted straight to make sure they took the halfback out of play there from a defensive point of view. Utilised the space, and probably one of the most dangerous players on the field all day, Blair Murray, comes up with a try that, as you said, Patrick, creates a really strong lead going in with less than 10 minutes to play.
So a kick to come from Zahn Sullivan from King's College in New Zealand. I think that's in Auckland. Could be wrong. Excellent kick, just to the right of the posts. I apologise to King's College students if I've got my geography wrong.
New Zealand 24,
so New Zealand 24, Australia 12, and this has been a fantastic battle between these two sides in what has been difficult conditions. Both teams have put on a show.
You'd think that kick there had to go short, Patrick, and look for a contestable kick.
Ball's there. The ball's there.
New Zealand schools will have the last say in this match. 2 minutes to go. They decide to kick back. See what they can do with some territory, and that is an excellent kick by Sullivan. Some good territory. Pasatoa. Rice smiles. He shaped it, pass it back in. Kapoor, he's been very strong since he came on for Australian schools. Reimer takes it off the top to Strang. A little show and go from Pasatoa. Amazingly talented young player. Strang moves the ball on, well tackled. Lambert goes to ground. And shaping a bit flat-footed there, Australian runners. Just need to get some more movement. Move it to Pasatoa, throws it back on the inside to Connolly. It's on halfway, and this is the second time he's been held up.
Strip's good.
Strip's good. It comes out for Australia, though. It's the men in gold holding on to some possession. Can they have the last say in this match and finish with some points? Good run from Harris, who's been strong
Ball's there.
for Aussie schools today.
Release
Trucking it
now,
up.
Black.
New Zealand just happy to sit back at the breakdown, pick and go, and an offload to Strang. Strang gets away from one, eventually wrestled to ground. He's isolated though, and that'll be a penalty to New Zealand. Advantage to Australia. Not releasing perhaps. Pasatoa locks it on in the wet.
Black off your feet.
Takes it, hits off the referee.
Hey, it's gonna be over at the mark. I can't have it over there. It's gonna be on the mark, man. I can't have it a metre off the mark. It's gonna be over here.
Pasatoa looking to take it quickly. Just have to come back for the mark. I think that's Louis Chapman. Just receiving some treatment. They've got a knock off that breakdown.
We've called Pasatoa a couple of times in the, not just the last passage of play, but since he's come on, and he's added certainly to the attack for Australia. A really nice balance there between himself and the starting fly half in Carter Gordon. Two exceptional players, both only 17. Carter Gordon leaving school this year. Young Pasatoa has another year at Nudgee College.
When you're ready.
Strang taps it quickly. And given the opportunity, a good run into contact by Ranu. I think New Zealand may have come away with this. No, it comes good for Australia. The rain is the heaviest it's been all day, I suspect, as Walton steps away from 1-2. Is brought to ground eventually. Good tackle by Segner. Poor picks it up off the back of the breakdown. Sorry, couldn't have support.
Unplayable.
And that'll be full time. Australia schools, they fall to New Zealand schools 24 points to 12 in an absolute classic match between these two sides at Ballymore, the home of Queensland Rugby in Brisbane. Australia will be left to rue some missed opportunities as both sides shake hands. And despite the disappointment for Australia and the Australian fans here today, Wits, it was a great battle between these two sides.
You're right, Patrick. You knew it was going to be a battle, you know, nothing less, you know, when these two sides clash in a schoolboy test match. Yeah, and the actual skills shown in these conditions was exceptional. You know, a real competitive game. New Zealand making most of opportunities in that second half to just get that breakaway by try, then 2 tries. You know, Australia fought hard, came back into the game, but again, that sort of the pressure that New Zealand exert both from in defence and with ball in hand proved the difference in the end.
The Australian schools and under 18s, they'll be touring to the UK for some matches in Ireland and Scotland after the completion of exams for the Year 12 lads. And that's going to be an exciting tour for that young team, and they'll take a lot out of this New Zealand game.
They will, you know, they'll go away disappointed, you know what I mean, because, you know, it is a true test this each year, and, you know, they've been close on a number of occasions and certainly were competitive today, but, you know, full marks to New Zealand, you know, thoroughly deserved their victory. Really committed performance, and Australia will go away and be able to look at, you know, how they fared and then take some of the learnings, like you said, over to the UK where they'll play test matches against Scotland and Ireland.